If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community. Remember Donda, the Kanye West album that was supposed to drop last year, and that we even got a track list, a cover art, and an official announcement for, and that actually never dropped, and the leading up to this release was so proper and so official that nobody thought this could go wrong. Of course, a lot of people expected the album to be delayed or, not to be finished, like we've seen a lot of other Kanye stuff, be treated in the past. I'm only talking Yandi or the amounts that he's pushed back several other albums. But still, this album never saw the light of day, now almost a year after we first heard of it. And I kind of wanted to go over what the state of this album is right now, because I think a lot of people are confused. A lot of people have given up hope for the album, and some people are still waiting for it. Now, this whole Donda situation went about last July, so July of 2020, when Kanye took to Twitter to publish this track list, and then also a week later drop the cover art for it, which features, these three figures in front of a sun. And I still think this cover art looks really cool to this date, and I would love to see it be used by Kanye. And he even announced the record with an official release date. He's kind of deleted some tweets that said an early release date, but at some point it was certain that it was going to drop, but then he didn't. I covered this whole thing back when it happened, and back then I was already like, I'm still thinking this is going to drop, but we just have to see where we go from here after he failed to drop it on the date that he promised us to drop. To kind of go over the backgrounds of this album, I remember Kanye before the pandemic, in March of last year, he was in Mexico recording some new music, and Pusha T was also supposed to meet up with him. I think he was, supposed to fly out to West's Wyoming farm to record some music with him to finish up a project, he said later, but he didn't because of the pandemic. But it was certain that there was a Kanye album dropping. We've also seen this thing be teased at under the name God's Country, and a lot of people thought that this was going to be yet another Christian album after 2019's Jesus is Born, which, if you've seen my ranking every Kanye project, you know that I'm not too much of a hater of, but it still wasn't top-notch Kanye. So I do agree with a lot of fans that say this is definitely his worst album in a lot of ways. But this was supposed to change after he changed the name from God's Country to Donda, and a lot of people were very excited to maybe get some old Kanye back, non-Christian Kanye. We've gotten 2 singles so far. We've gotten Wash Us in the Blood, which released on June 30th of 2020, so just a month before this whole release debacle went down. And we were very certain that this was going to be on the record. I remember talking about this, saying like, oh, this mixture of kind of like Yeezus, but then also with like a modern Travis feature on there, kind of like what Travis did on Franchise. That's like the music of Future, and Kanye is going to define this sound, and this is going to have long lasting influence on the music game. And we never actually saw it go anywhere, because we still have this single on streaming. We can still listen to it. It's still a decent song. I wasn't too much of a fan of it. It was supposed to be on Donda. We saw that on the track list that Kanye posted back in July. But as the album, it never actually went anywhere. We also got Na Na Na, which released on October 16th. This is yet another very interesting song. This was kind of, for many people, seemed like a meme song. It was just very in a very funny, joking way. But then he also did a remix with the Baby and 2 Chainz, and this whole thing went down while his presidential campaign was going on. So that whole time was a very weird time for Kanye and his fans in supporting him. This track was also not supposed to be on Donda, and it might have just been a throwaway track that, he just had laying around or something. But this was interesting because we never got official word after Donda got delayed, and then just out of the blue he drops this song, and we never heard anything new from him again. Now, one theory that a lot of people also have as to why Donda got delayed or never dropped is also that he, of course, had his presidential campaign running. And we all know Kanye, he was very convinced of himself winning and becoming president. Probably remember his very famous, I think it was South Carolina, his rally there where he broke down in tears. And a lot of people thought that because of this official engagement in official affairs, he was not allowed to drop music. And this might be why we didn't get Donda. But now he's been out of the race. We have a new president in office, and Kanye could easily drop the album if he had already finished it to the point of announcing a release date that same week that he's announcing the release date. So it's all very, very kind of confusing as to what the album state is right now. And just from a personal perspective, this is my own theory. I still think that we are going to get Donda in some sort or way. I don't think it'll be the same fate as Yandhi. I feel like Yandhi also has had some of the leftover Yandhi tracks will be featured on here. I am still looking forward to this record. I don't think Kanye is done with music, and even if this album is yet another title, maybe he's renamed it, maybe he's changed the track list, I still think that we're gonna get some influence from this time that he was recording Donda in, and that sound that he was trying to push and evolve during that time. So I still believe that we're gonna get something from Kanye this year. Now, Kanye is also someone who has a lot of other stuff going on in his life. He has the Yeezy and Gap deal right now. He also just went through a very public divorce with his now ex-wife Kim Kardashian. But fans still, of course, want the music that he's been teasing. Now, something that I also think is very interesting, that I've thought about a lot since this whole divorce became public, is that Kanye, of course, was a very strong advocate of Christian values in his past two releases. And I think maybe through this divorce, he's kind of diverted from that, because I remember him telling his employees not to have premarital sex. And it's like, if you support these values to such an extent to even tell other people what to do, then maybe this whole, divorce has kind of shifted his view, because a divorce is also not a very Christian thing, to my knowledge. But anyway, that's kind of my theory on what the state of Kanye West's Donda is right now. I still believe we're going to get it. It's kind of interesting to kind of sum up the whole thing, how it went down, which I did in this video. And I really want to know what you think about this. Do you still believe that we're going to get Donda at some point? And do you think that it'll drop this year, or what your next expectation for Kanye is, what he's going to do next? Let me know in the comments down below for sure. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.